My name is Courtney. I'm from Brisbane, and some 2019 reflections from me. So this year I changed contexts massively. I went from a 5 to 12 boys school that was private. We did the normal state syllabus, and footy was absolutely king. And this year I moved to a co-ed selective school that is 10 to 12s only. It runs the IB, and it has a creative arts focus. So the kids come in thinking it is some kind of performing arts school. Their life is going to be like Fame, the movie, but it's really not quite like that when they're running the IB. I learnt this year, number one, that we talk about context so much, but it really is all encompassing, and it really does feed what the community does and what it comes back to you, I suppose. So community priorities in my new school this year was very much about support, and not just support for a certain type of kid, but a support for every kind of kid. So the relationship that those students have with one another is so incredibly different to what I was used to. But at the end of the day, that kids everywhere are still kids, and I had the same dramas in the classroom that I would have had with a class full of boys. So I know that there's a lot of stereotypes about the way we teach boys and the way we teach girls, but I had, in terms of classroom work, very similar experiences, which I quite enjoyed. I really felt comfortable once I got into the classroom. Funnily enough, though, my professional priorities changed massively this year. Well, they didn't actually change. I think I clarified what I wanted out of a school, given that I'd spent the majority of my career in the same school and I was really comfortable there. And then I put myself out of my comfort zone to go to this school this year. I really quickly realized what I wanted out of a school and what I needed to be professionally satisfied. And funnily enough, I am moving on next year because what I wanted, I couldn't find at that school. I realized very quickly that junior grades may be super annoying, but they are really important for the journey and for continuity of what we teach them all the way through. So picking up year 10s from 60, 70 different feeder schools, I found it really hard to get them on the same page. There was this pressure to get them on the same page before we shoved them off into year 11 to do their senior subjects, and I didn't really enjoy that. Even though it's great to kind of be able to reset them, it's really, really challenging. And I kind of forgot how much I enjoyed being able to build those skills through the junior years. Yeah, I don't really like grade 7s, but what are you going to do? So I also really learnt that I'm a science teacher. I teach science and maths, and science and maths are very, very skills based. And I wanted to teach them as skills focused as much as possible. But when you're looking down the barrel of an 80% exam in the IB, I found that very, very challenging. And even though that works for so many people, and it just didn't really work for me. There was so much of a decreased priority on doing hands-on things and doing hands-on pracs for the sake of doing pracs and for the sake of getting kids to explore different things. Even teaching those research skills, there was so much of a push to push through the content, or get the students to do the content at home, which I wanted to explore it with them. So I didn't really enjoy that idea, and I am really keen to teach the Queensland syllabus as of next year. I found it really important as well. I didn't realise how important it was to me to give students so many different pathways and so much support in the classroom. So going from an all-encompassing, relatively inclusive school to one that was a selective entry school, it meant that there was a little bit of heads in the sand about what kind of students we had. Oh, they sat a selective entry test. They're definitely a certain type of student. So we don't need learning support, or we don't need those kinds of opportunities at our school. And I found very quickly, kids are kids, and even within the bell curve of those selective types of students, I still managed to have a lot of students who came to me with a lot of scarring maths anxiety and things like that, and they really did struggle. And while they were amazing performers, and that's why they'd come to the school, they're sitting the IB, they have to take their maths, they have to take their science. And I found it really challenging to find support that wasn't just me tutoring in a lunch break. When I have a lot of, students who are still verified with the same types of things that I dealt with in previous schools, but I didn't have the support there in the faculty to go, look, I've got 6 kids in one class with dyslexia. I'm doing this, that, and the other. What else can I do? And people go, oh, that's great. That's about more than we would do. what, that's great. Can you show us that? And I went, oh, I need more than this. And when it comes to sitting the IB, it's quite rigorous, as there would be in any other school's senior program, but there's not really that many options. There wasn't an option really for those students to look down the barrel and see, oh, you know what, I might actually do a cert course, or I might do some kind of vocational thing that doesn't fit with the norm. And that was frustrating for me, given the types of students I was working with. I want to see that they have an option at success in something. And so I didn't realize how much that was important to me, to go, I want to see you successful in something that fits for you, but I didn't have that on offer. And that was really challenging for me. And that's why I've made a change for school for 2020. And my very last reflection is that teaching is ridiculously physical, and I didn't realize it until I did myself an injury right at the end of the term. And oh my gosh, even, I wasn't even teaching classes. I was just mainly an exam block, but just walking to and from the photocopier, walking up and down when you are doing exams. Like, I was really sat on my backside. And I didn't realize how exhausted I was at the end of the day and how much physical work we actually do. So I will definitely continue to look after myself as best as I can going into 2020, because I'm very bored sitting on my backside.